An article in this week's The Economist shows the growing concern U.S. businessmen are having around the growing influence and power of China around the world. The article warns of the growing power China may soon have because of its currency reserves and partial state planning. This kind of peace is expected given the current situation America is in right now with its trade deficit and currency aggression against China. The article begins with a little dramatized story of an American company being bought out by a Chinese-owned company. And the description was right out of an 80s cyberpunk movie where the evil Japanese corporations were taking over America. Overly dramatic or not, it certainly reflects the perception the business elites have in their head. From there, they go on to describe just how much influence China has gained in the last 10 years. In fact, today, Chinese state-owned companies account for more than a tenth of the global stock market value. China has also a huge amount of savings. These are made up of company-owned cash surpluses and bank surplus deposits. The threat is that these profits are made from the first world and sent back to the first world through sovereign wealth funds. Not only that, but the Central Bank of China is acting as the portfolio investor, mainly grabbing up bonds. The trend now is to shift those funds into purchasing raw materials and land, as well as gaining access for foreign markets. Traditionally, we radical leftists have called this imperialism. This is a dirty word that the elite don't care to mention, although the accusation against China for it is there. The hypocrisy in this accusation is astounding. The U.S. has been building a global empire since the end of World War II. It seems that if anyone else does it, it is a crime. The Economist complains that Chinese executives are not being honest when they say these deals are for profit and not for politics, especially when these deals are made by state-owned enterprises. Of course, these are political moves as well as for gaining profits. It's transparent. I'm hard-pressed to find any example of an American company admitting that a foreign investment or acquisition was intended for a political purpose. Many of these steps into the Western companies and acquisitions have been considered difficult. The Economist blames this on cultural differences and the role of the Chinese government. I find this comment amusing, citing cultural differences as some kind of barrier. I could have sworn all capitalists were out for the same thing. The real annoyance is the role of the state. You see, there is this dirty little secret that the capitalist class don't want you to know about and will go to great lengths to hide. A government regulation of the economy, to varying degrees, does work. Ask any one of these high-power executives and they'll give a shout-out to the free market alongside the Mises cultists. But in private, they know what is going on. They know very well that China's rise to power is due in major part to the government keeping the reins on business to keep it from duplicating the idiocies of many U.S. economic crises. They hate to admit it, but a regulated economy does work, and even capitalist China is living proof of it. The article then moves on to describe what they call being eaten by the dragon, meaning what it's like to be bought out by a Chinese firm. Along the things they are reported as having epic PowerPoint presentations in front of many people, banquets, and people trying to get you drunk. To me, this sounds a lot like the entertainment expenses written off by corporations to woo investors and avoid paying taxes on the night out with the boys. Essentially, the article was a complaint about what it's like doing business with a semi-autonomous Chinese firm. They complained that the government in China has too much influence over the direction of investments. A common complaint was that the Chinese firm taking over a mining group in Brazil changed the focus from profit-making to efficiency. The real complaint was that often there was more of a political agenda than a money-making one. I find this opinion put out by the elite to be nothing short of a joke. We're supposed to believe that the Chinese are bad because they have supposedly underhanded tactics while conducting business? Well, the last I heard, that's called capitalism. Sure, 1 billion people go hungry last year, but so what? This Chinese firm was forthcoming, as they should be, to us. Well, forgive me if I shed no tears for the executives. If the best they can complain about is people getting them drunk to do business deals, then they should be glad. When large American firms want an economy open up to them alongside access to its resources, an accusation of having weapons of mass destruction or claiming the country is behind a terrorist attack. Poor you, American elite. Some of you got taken out for dinner and gotten drunk. At least China didn't invade your country and kill 3 million people to get their foot in the door for business. In the end, to me, there's really only one difference between the way the Chinese firms and the U.S. firms do things in the economy. In the U.S., the business elite tell the government leaders where the economy is going to go. In China, the government tells the business leaders in which direction the economy is going to go. Keep in mind who caused the recent global economic crisis and the resulting currency war, and who didn't.